Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to you all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining in from. So, if you are here, let me see you in the comment section. Let me see where you are joining in from. Welcome to the Peak Parent Academy. And if you know, PIC means Positive Intentional Conscious Parent Academy. And my name is Ikia Safo. I welcome you here. Let me know in the comment section if I can be heard. If you can hear, if you can see me, let me see your comments so that I know that I can be heard. So that I know I can be heard. Can you hear me? Am I loud and clear? Okay. Let me check from my end and see. Okay. Let me check. Okay, I think it's clear now. Okay, so I welcome you once again, and this is the Peak Parent Academy. So today we are looking at positive, effective alternatives to punishment. And I want to also say that if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, click on the subscribe button and subscribe to this channel. We are going to share, there are a lot of things we have to share with parents here in Ghana. And I know that we are also going to go far. So if you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button and subscribe to this channel. So today, and if you haven't registered for the conference, okay, the parents conference, yes, I just remembered the parents conference happening on the 20th to 22nd of November. I think we have 2 weeks to go. So if you haven't registered, if you haven't shared to your family and friends, you want to do so too. I welcome you here, and let's go straight to the point. So we are supposed to actually have this session with another coach in the academy and one of the educators in the academy, but I think we have a few network challenges, so we just have to move. We just have to move. So going on to the main topic, positive discipline, okay, effective alternatives for punishment. So what at all is discipline? If we say discipline, let me know what do you understand by the word discipline? One word that has been actually abused, okay, is discipline. And as Miles Morrow said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. Because we don't really understand what discipline is, when a parent says, an African parent says, I'm going to discipline this child, it means that they are going to really beat the child, they are going to really punish the child. That is what it means actually. When we say we are going to discipline a child, but discipline is not beating. Discipline is not yelling. Discipline is not causing or giving pain to a child. No, that is not what discipline is about. We most of the time say that, hey, me, you don't know, I am a disciplined parent, I'm a disciplined mother, I'm a disciplined father. But disciplined parent, disciplined father, disciplined mother can't even pick up a book and finish with a book. We take something, or we pick up something that we want to do, but we are unable to finish what we say we want to do. And that is being able to sit to finish something is discipline. So are we really disciplining our children, or we are just causing them pain? Are we teaching them? Are we guiding them? Or we are just causing them pain? Ask yourself. So before I move on, I want you to, if you have a pen or a paper with you, a pen and a paper with you, I want you to write this down. Okay. Ask yourself that the punishment you are giving to your child, okay, is that punishment after you have given out that discipline, what you call discipline, what most of us call discipline, okay, after we have disciplined our children, do we see the children what do we see? Do the children get angry? Are they cooperative? Do they withdraw? What at all do you see after you give out punishment to your child? Ask yourself and answer the question over there. Also ask yourself, okay, does this discipline strategy that you are using, is it something that is helping your child's confidence, or it is something that is really, making your child afraid, putting fear in your child. Ask yourself this question too. Another question you should also ask is that, does your child feel empowered enough, okay, to repair their mistakes? After you have given out that punishment, ask yourself, is your child empowered enough to do better next time? Ask yourself. So if you are asking yourself these questions and you are answering, you should know, depending on the answer you give yourself, you should know that then your discipline may not be effective. Your discipline may not be effective. So please, let us take note of that discipline is not shaming a child. Discipline is not yelling at a child. Discipline is not verbal abuse. You don't have to insult a child because they have made a mistake and you want to punish them. So you feel you have to do all of these things to the child. No, that is not discipline. Discipline is not also being permissive. You don't have to be a permissive parent where you allow children to do whatever they want. No, that is not discipline. Discipline is not a reward system where all you are doing is that all you do is give rewards to your children. Children are very smart. Children are very smart. So if you are giving gifts all the time to your children because they are, you want them to do something good, you want them to do the good things all the time, they will always find ways to get more because they know that is, what to do to get what they want. And if we do that, most people in this country, okay, most people work because of what they are going to get out of that thing, not because they willingly want to do what they have to do. So if you want to instill responsibility in your child, if you want to instill something great in your child, you don't have to always be giving out gifts, rewards to your children when they do something that they have to do. You can be doing that once in a while, but you don't have to be doing it all the time. Okay. And discipline is not assumptions. No. You don't have to assume anything. You don't have to assume anything. You need to learn. You need to get the necessary knowledge that you have to get as a parent. You need to. Now, before I also move on, we have this misconception about, as I was saying, punishment and then discipline. Punishment is not disciplining a child. If you are punishing a child for what they do, you are not really disciplining them. You are just giving pains. You are just causing pains to this child. So you are not really disciplining them. And it's just a quick fix. If you are always punishing a child, like beating a child for what they do, you are just beating them to fix something at that moment. And you realize that when you do that, your children sort of become hypocrites. Yes, they do the right things when you are there because, of course, they don't want to be punished. They do the right things when you are there. So when you are not around, you could see they do whatever they want. But the moment they see you coming, hey, mommy is coming or daddy is coming, then they are all, doing all of that because they know you're going to beat them. And sometimes even the beating doesn't really do anything. They get tired of the beating. They get tired. So they do things and they go like, what at all am I going to get? After all, I'm going to be beaten. So that is it. Let me just do that. They will beat me and it will go anyway. So let me just, do what I have to do. So please, discipline is, we will get there. We will get there. So the difference between discipline and punishment is that discipline is really teaching the child. Discipline means guiding a child, teaching a child, correcting the child. But punishment is just causing pain to the child. Punishment is just causing pain to the child. So discipline is different from punishment. So when you are disciplined, you are creating structures. You are creating structures. You are creating routines. You are the parent, and you need to also guide the child. So discipline is when you have put structures in place to guide this child. When you have put structures in place to guide this child. When you are always punishing your child, the child will grow to lose their self-confidence. The child will lose their self-confidence if you are always beating this child. And they are unable to regulate their emotions. They are unable to regulate their emotions. Also, when you're always beating a child, they perform poorly in class, in school, because they are always like, they don't feel empowered in any way to, learn to do what they have to do. The child fails in class, and all you are doing is beating the child. You don't help this child put down structures, okay, to be able to solve that particular problem. You are not helping the child. You make the child feel like there is something wrong with him or her. And so they are always, battling with self-confidence. They don't know what to do with themselves. They think that there is something wrong with them because of how the discipline strategy you are using as a parent. Okay, because of the discipline strategy you are using as a parent. So please let us check that. Now, I want to touch on these points. So before you give out punishment to your child, before you say, I am going to beat this child, or I'm going to give this consequence to the child, look at these things. Think about these things. So you want to consider, okay, never beat a child or never give a consequence or punishment to a child for what you haven't taught the child. So if you are going to punish the child, ask yourself, have I taught this child this thing enough? Have you taught the child this skill? So if your child is always late for school, they are not really, when it's time for school, you see them doing other things. Ask yourself, have I taught this child time management? How they can manage their time very well? Have I taught this child? Ask yourself, have I taught this child how to manage the home properly? Have I taught this child how to learn, how to study? Before you give out any consequence, you beat a child or whatever, yourself this question. Another question you need to also ask yourself is that never beat a child, okay, without giving him enough time to assimilate what you have taught him. Don't, most of the time you could hear parents say that, how many times do you want me to teach you this thing before it sticks? Why are you always doing this? How many times do you want me to teach it to you? I see that, you are a parent and you are a teacher and you are a repeater. As a parent, you are going to repeat. You are going to repeat. You are going to repeat. You are going to remind your children. You are going to, always guide them. Don't think that you have said it once and that is it. No, you need to remind them. You need to keep saying it over and over until it sticks, until it becomes part of them. Parenting is an 18-year journey, from 0 to 18 years. You need to guide your child. So don't think that you have said you've corrected this child, you've taught this thing once, and that is all. No, you need to have strategies, how you are going to teach your child for them to learn. So you pick, I always say that it shouldn't be a competition. Parenting shouldn't be a competition. Don't compare your child to someone else's child. You don't know what they are doing to help their children, and you don't know the goals they have set for their children. So if you are always comparing your child, your journey to someone else, then you are not doing anything good for your child. You're not doing anything good for your child. No, if my child have this problem, if my child is unable to manage their time very well, then I need to draw a plan. I need to teach time management. So what are some of the things I have to teach? Okay, under time management, I have to teach this, I have to teach. So you state all the points that you have to teach there, and then you let your child, you teach it one step at a time until it becomes part of them, until you see that, yes, my child is now able to manage their time very well before you move on to the next thing. Don't rush. It's an 18-year-old journey. See, if your child is young, sing praises to God. If you are pregnant, sing praises to God. If your child is a preteen, it's good. You may get some struggles because you didn't know some of these things, so you are going to suffer a bit. And if your child is a teenager, you need to put in extra efforts, because they have been programmed in a certain way, and now you know the right thing, you want to do the right things. They are not going to the children are not going to accept it because it's coming from you. They are going to fight it, but you need to stand on your ground. You need grace if your children are, teenagers. So please, dear parents, before you beat a child, before you give any consequence to a child, I said, first of all, ask yourself if you have taught the child that skill. And secondly, if that you have, if the child is able to assimilate whatever you have taught them. The next thing is that never beat a child when there is another way to effectively correct that behavior. Mhm. You could hear some people say, but our parents didn't have to learn anything, and it's the same way our parents did to us. Our parents were always beating us. That is why we are like this. That is why we have turned out okay. I always say this: we haven't turned out okay. Some people always, disagree with me, but there are so many things. See, if there was a parenting school that your parents attended, that our parents attended, and they learned to understand how the brain of the child, how to discipline right, how to do all of these things right, we wouldn't be facing, the challenges that are there now. But ask yourself, since since we've been beaten, we've been yelled at, we've been jumped, all these things have been done to us, but still you could see that there are still problems, especially here in Africa. We are not disciplined, we are not, a whole lot of problems in Africa. It means the discipline strategy we are using is wrong, and we have to change it. And there is a better way. There is a better way to do it. There is a better way. That is why it's important that if you become a parent, you need to acquire knowledge. You need to acquire knowledge, because there is so much that we have to learn. If we want to make, for me, what really pushes me is that I think that Africa, we can do better. Like, Africa can become a great nation. But it all depends on how we are raising our children. Look at the kind of leaders we have. A small country like Ghana, with all the natural, resources that we have, and still we are suffering. Why? Ask yourself why. It's because of the kind of leaders we have, and it's also as a result of how they were raised. So if we can change things in this country, if we can change things in Africa, then we need to be very conscious of how we are bringing up the next generation, because they are going to take over. And is it going to be the same thing? Are we going to, keep suffering? No, we need to move from being the third world country, the third among the third world, countries. We need to move to a better place. Africa, we need to move, like we can do it if we all come together, okay, and accept that we have to learn, acquire information. We have to acquire knowledge to be able to learn, to raise, our children to become wholesome, to raise our children to become responsible. Then I believe that we are really going to have a greater, we are going to really make this country and Africa great tomorrow. So please, dear parents, I know most of us fight it. No one can come and teach me how to raise my child. Who are you to come and teach me how to raise my child? Let's get rid of that perception, and let's accept there is a better way to do discipline effectively. So let's learn to get better, and we can make the change that we want to see here in Africa. Another thing to ask yourself is that never beat a child, okay, when there is no when there is no, never beat a child when you are angry, because you may damage the child. Never beat a child. Most of us are unable to control our emotions. Once a child does something, like, we want to there and then go and beat the child for the child to know who is in charge, that kind of thing. I am the boss here. I am the parent. How dare you do this thing? We want to control the child. And so we are able to sit to reflect and think about what the child, did, why the child did that thing, and what you can do to help the child. Ask yourself, if you are able to control yourself, whenever your child does something, Ask yourself, why is my child putting up this behavior? Just, rather than just standing up, going to find a cane, beat their child here and there, to say, some people say, I am going to bring out the sense in you today. Please, let us calm down. Don't make it an emergency. The reason why sometimes it happens like that is that, for instance, if you put money there and your child goes to take the money, what goes on in your mind is, my child has taken this money, my child has stolen my money, my child is going to go to become a thief. But hey, I don't want my child to become a thief. So you are, thinking of all of those things, your emotions are just going up like that, and then you tend to just go and beat the child. After you beat the child, what have you taught them? Yes, I have disciplined the child. You say, I have disciplined the child. Like, you feel okay that you have disciplined the child. So at the end of the day, ask yourself, what have I taught this child? What have I taught this child? After beating the hell out of the child, ask yourself, what have I taught this child? Has my child learned something from this beating? No. You have just caused pain to another human being. You haven't taught the child anything. You haven't. I always say that sometimes I say that, imagine, okay, you are going to a different, you've gone to a different planet, let's say Mars, okay, you've gone to planet Mars or Pluto or any other planet. And then you go there, you meet other, humans. They are not like we are. You meet other people, other humans there, and you don't know anything, like you are new, you don't understand things over there, you don't know how things even work there. And then they teach you, okay, they take you around, they teach you this and this, these are the things, here, this is how things work here and all of that. But the moment you begin to do something, you make a mistake. You do something, you make a mistake, and all they do is they beat you. Whenever you make a mistake, they beat you, because they said they've taught you for the first time and you need to get it. So they beat you, Like, are you going to feel happy? You are never going to be happy, because the things over there are new to you. You don't really understand certain things. Something that they have to take their time to teach you, they are beating you for it. You will never be happy. And it's the same thing with our children. Our children are new here. Our children are here. Some of them they've just been on earth for 7 years, some of them 3 years, 2 years, and a 2-year-old child does something, and you could see, even some time ago, I saw a 6-month child. The mother was beating the child, hitting the child. And I was like, why are you hitting this child? She said, the mother said, if the child likes crying, if I don't beat the child, she passed some comments. And I was like, 6 months? You are beating a 6-month-old child for crying? I was like, no, we are getting it all wrong. So the children are here. They are new here. They don't know things. We have to take our time to teach them, to guide them, for them to understand. We don't have that patience to teach the children. All we do is beat them, beat them, beat them. And at the end of the day, they don't learn, they don't become any better, they don't learn anything from us. We don't guide them, we don't teach them, we don't do anything for these children. And yet we say we are disciplining our children. We are not disciplining them. We are just giving them pain. So you need to be able to control your emotions, okay? Control yourself. When your child does something, ask, why is my child doing this? What can I do to help this child? Have empathy for the child. Have empathy for the child, because they are doing it because they don't know any better. So you want to show empathy to the child. Show empathy to your child. And another thing is that never beat a child without agreeing with him prior to the offense, the punitive measure for such. Okay, so let's say before you give any consequence, okay, to the child, any consequence at all to the child, let the child know. Don't say you are unpredictable. Let the child know what the consequence for an action is going to be. So, for instance, you are supposed to go somewhere, okay, as a family, you are supposed to go somewhere at, say, 12 o'clock p.m., and you give your child a task, okay, to do. You give him the task, you tell him to finish by 10 a.m. so that they can prepare, you can prepare, and then go. And if by that time they are not done with their task, they won't be able to go, with you to wherever you are going. You tell your child this, okay? If they don't, if they must complete their task before they'll be able to join you to wherever you are going. You tell your child, and your child, doesn't mind you. They do what they want instead of shouting, yelling. See, calm down, okay? Calm down. Let the child do what they are doing and let them face the consequence. So if at that time the child, doesn't complete their task at that time that you are going for the trip, ensure that you don't let your child go to the trip because you told the child the consequence of not finishing their task. Most of the time, we are unable to let the children go through consequences because it's also as a result of emotional, intelligence. We don't have that, emotional stability to let our children, to watch our children go through what consequence they have to go through. So if you've told your child that they are not going to join you on the trip, ensure they stay home because that is the consequence. Ensure they stay home. And before you also leave your child at home, make sure you have taught them some 1 or 2 things. It's also very important. But before you give out any consequence, make sure you have taught the child. I hope it's clear. I hope I am clear. Before you give any consequence, teach the child. Teach the child. And let's also the child know the consequence for anything, for their actions, for anything, consequence for not doing anything. Let them know. Let them, know the consequences for not doing something, so that as they are doing whatever, some children, they will not do it, and you will not give the consequence, and they will say that, okay, mommy or daddy, whenever they say they will give a consequence, they don't do it. So the child will never take you for serious, for real, because they know that whatever you say, you will not really do. You are just saying because you are angry. And that is why you also need to also take your time, calm down before thinking of, what to do. Okay, before thinking of what to do. So before you tell your child to do something, let them know the consequence for that thing. And when they don't do it, let them face that consequence. Let them face that consequence. And the final one I want to say is that never beat a child without giving him the chance to defend himself and explain the reason behind the behavior. Give them that, chance to explain themselves. Some children may have some issues. There may be reasons why they will not be able to complete a task. There may be reasons why they may not be able to do something. There may be reasons why they have even put up a certain behavior. So give your child that, permission to explain themselves. Give them the time to explain themselves to you. Give you reasons why they might have done something. If you see your child, if you hear your child has gone to steal something, don't just let the emotions, you go angry and then you do all sort of things to the child. No, take your time. Find out from the child why. It may be there are reasons why children steal. I think we've done a video on that, so you can go through our channel and watch it. There are reasons why a child may steal. So you want to find out why. It could be hunger, it could be anything. It could be that they are learning from their friends and all of that. So you want to take your time and then find out why, and then teach, guide the child. Teach and guide the child. So let's look at how we can effectively discipline our children. I said I was going to do a 30 minutes live, but I think the 30 minutes is up. So let me just give you the how to discipline, effectively, the discipline strategies you can use. First of all, to be able to discipline well, you need to have structure. Okay, you need to create a routine structure in your home. So you need to have how do you call it? A structure where a routine that children know what they have to do. If your child is young, like 2 years, 3 years, a toddler, you need to guide the child. Sometimes you need to give them options to choose from and all of that, because at that stage they want to be, they want to be independent and all of that. So you need to give them options to choose from. You need to also create structures. If your child is a preteen, for instance, you need to have a structure, a routine that they follow. So a morning routine, afternoon routine. Sit down with the child and explain to them why it's important that they follow the routine. It's going to help them become responsible. So you have morning routines. What are some of the activities they do in the morning? So let them tell you, okay, so you have in the morning from maybe 8 a.m. to 10, or from, depending on the time they wake up, from let's say 7 to 10, you should complete, so let's say 5 tasks, you should complete. And you can give them, we want to raise independent children, okay? So your child may not follow the routines like step by step accordingly. Let them tell you what 5 things they can complete in the morning from this time to this time. But they should make sure that they should be able to complete, let's say by 10 o'clock, they should complete their task. It's not going to be easy. It's not something that you're going to tell your child and you expect them to just follow. No. Some children are not going to. So you want to take your time. It may be something new for your child. So take your time and guide them. Okay. There are times you need to also model. It's important, but we'll get there. So let the child, write it and paste it on your wall so that your child will see it. Okay, this is my morning routine. So if they wake up and then they forget, tell them, go and check your routine. What's the next thing to do? What do you have to do? Okay, you remind them, they check, they come and do. You remind them, they check, they come and do. So you can have something that they tick. Okay, when a particular activity is done, they tick it. When a particular activity is done, they tick it. So in the evening for the afternoon, most of them, they'll be going to school. So evening routines, to when they come from school, what are some of the things that they have to do? You write it down and they also follow. So sometimes if you build a routine, you may not, even if you are not around, your child can follow the routines because they don't need mommy or daddy to come and tell them what to do. The routine is going to guide them, do what the things that they have to do. Okay, so that is when you have, taught, it has become part of them. Then you wouldn't have to be around to be telling them, do this, do that, do this. You understand? So that is, creating routine is very, very important. It's very important. If you have a teenager, they may not, agree with you, but you want to sit down with them and have some cool talk with them. Don't get angry. No, it won't help you. Letting your emotions lead won't help. So you want to calm down, sit down with your teenager. You can go find a cool place to sit and talk with them. It might not be, doesn't necessarily have to be in the home. You can do it somewhere, sit down with them and talk and explain to them, why it's important, why it's necessary that they have to do certain things for them to grow to become great. They have to be able to do certain important things. So why it's important that they do that. So you sit down with them and then you draw a routine, a structure together that you follow with your teenager. It's very important. And you also need to praise efforts. When your child does something, don't praise just the results. Praise the effort, the things that they are doing. So if you come home and your children have been able to, clean the home, they've been able to make the place neat, nice, and all of that. You can say, oh, thank you so much for making this place look so nice. Thank you for what you have done. I really appreciate it. Okay, don't just praise the results. If they do well in school, praise them. Let them know that it's because they've been studying always. That is why they've been able to perform better. Don't just say they are smart. Don't just say they are smart, you are this, you are that. No. Let them praise the effort so that they will know that also, if I'm able to put in more effort, irrespective of where I am or where I find myself or my weaknesses, if I'm able to put in more effort, I'm going to definitely do better in anything that I set. So please take note of that. Take note of that. And you also need to give silence and deliberate programming. So with that too, you can, for instance, if your children are always on the screen, always watching TV, instead of you shouting, and doing all of those things, you can just put off the TV. I mean, you can just take it out of their room. Yes, and I don't even know why children, you should have a television in your child's room. We'll talk about that in another, session. But take out the television, okay? Take out the television and get more books. You just put the books there. Just put the books there. I gave this strategy to one of the parents, and they tried it, and now they are saying their children really, the screen time has limited. So they are more, the children are even have started reading more. And I said, okay, that's good then. It's good. So you do away with the screen, the TV, and then get more books. You just put the books there. Let the books be, place them somewhere next where the children most often sit. So if it's in the couch, you can put the books near them. Some, depending on the age of your child, get some very, attractive books that your children will want to read. Get them, put them there, and let the children, they will pick the books up and read. When you are in the car going somewhere with them, don't let them be on the phones, on the tablets. I mean, those things don't help children. What your child needs to survive in this on the screen. It doesn't matter what they are watching. Some people say, my children learn on the screen, or they learn on their tablets. No, let children they have to interact. They have to interact with the environment. So when you are when you're in a car going somewhere with your child, instead of giving them their phone, their tablet to be on it, I mean, let them see, let them look at places, the natural environment. Give them books to read in the car. So you can put the books in the car, take the tablets and the phones. They will pick the books up and read. So these are some of the things. Silence and deliberate programming is not something you do like you talk too much. You don't talk. Just your plan. You know what you want to see in your child. So you just put those things in place. Keep quiet. The children will get it. If there is no screen, okay, if there's no TV in a child's room and there are books in the child's room, they will pick up the books and read. They will pick up the books. My girl was someone who didn't really like reading, and I decided to get, all right. I think the books she had were, she had read them and she was just tired of the books. And it got to a time she just stopped reading. Like, I never saw her with any book she wasn't reading. So I decided to get some more books. So sometimes in a wardrobe, I'll just put the books there. I'll just put the books, and she will pick up a book without no one telling her to read. She'll just pick up the book and read. And sometimes I have to tell her to put the book down and come and do other things, So if you want to raise a reader, if you want to get rid of that misbehaviors, let your children go on with this silent and deliberate programming. It's better for your child to be reading. It's better to raise a reader than just to let your child be always on the screen. It doesn't really help them. Being on the screen doesn't really help them. So I hope this is helpful, and I want to end here. I don't know if there are any questions. If there are any questions you may want to ask. If I don't see any question, then I think I would have to end here. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, you want to just click on the subscribe button and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have learned something. I hope you got. I mean, there are so many things that we have to learn as parents, and to do is to just accept that we have to, or we want to learn. If we accept that fact that, of course, I have to learn to get better with my parenting, I promise you that we are going to see a brighter, a better Africa tomorrow. And if you haven't shared the parents conference, if you haven't register. I will send the links after this session to the various groups so that you can register. And if you haven't shared to your friends and family, you want to do so now, because the people around us need to also know what we are learning, so that it makes the parenting quite easier for us. If those you are, in your community are learning, if they know what you know, it makes the work easier, because you'll be you feel, you feel safe to leave your child with someone. But if someone doesn't know what you know, you're not comfortable when you're leaving your child with them because they don't know anything about parenting. So you want to share to your community, other parents, so that they can also register for the conference, so that we all learn something. The conference is absolutely free, 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 free. So share, share, share. And I know that we are going to bring more, more, more to you. We are going to also have another session on Thursday. So watch out for that as well. See you next. See you on Thursday. Yes, see you on Thursday, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.